Welcome to the Urban Cowgirl Show. There is the tool that I want to use to go over my compost. And I want it to be pulled by my best farming horse, Firecrest Easter Eve. However, I was getting worried about the rains coming. And the compost that we had already spread here, this is homemade organic compost, was kind of bumpy. And I said to my barn helper yesterday, oh, well, let's help her out. Let's get some of the bumps out of the compost, and then we'll have her finish preparing this composted track for our Timothy hayseed. And we'll get it planted before the rains start, within the next week or two, we anticipate. However, let me show you what happened, and this is telltale. It's much better on the ground, on the land, to use horses, because even though we used a very small 40-year-old garden tractor to pull that harrow, we removed the single tree and connected it to the garden tractor. And even though this was beautiful pasture grass, before we brought the garden tractor out here, pasture grass similar to what you see there, we irrigate here. I had no idea that it was wet under the grass. And now I know, because that garden tractor did some damage here. Fortunately, not too much. Well, here comes Eve. We're just ground driving her with a vaulting single on, some ground driving lines. We're just going to ask her to come here into this corridor today and walk up and down it. Here she comes. Now this is different from doing it in the arena, different from doing it out there in the grass. The ground is a different color. We've been having a little trouble with Eve on her whoa commands, but she's getting better. We're working on her in every respect, in saddle, at the arena, with free lunge, and on driving lines. Now Angela has two very long 22-foot yacht rope driving lines on Eve's O-ring snaffle bridle right now. They're nice driving lines. They've got weight, but not too heavy. They're strong. And look how nice Eve is walking in this test site corridor. I didn't know if she'd be spooked by the color, by the nearby sounds. But she's doing beautiful. Can you go back and forth one more time, Angela? And while Angela's doing that, I'm going to show you our tools to do the planting after Eve prepares the compost for us. Very simple tools. A scoop to scoop up the seed. A seed spreader to spread the seed. That's all. We're trying to go back to simple ways here. And a farming horse to prepare the ground, to better prepare the ground for the organic Timothy hay that we want to grow here starting this year, this fall. And this is 2011. You can take her back. Good. Yeah, see if she'll stop. Will she stop for you? Try again. Yeah. Good girl. Okay, you can take her back. This was just to introduce our plan for our next few sessions with our best farming horse, Firecrest Easter Eve. Postscript. This is Sammy. She thinks we have something interesting like pellets, but no. we have our Timothy seed that we're going to, just for now, spread out on this damaged ground. Let's concentrate over here. It's pretty wet, pretty muddy. That's it. And that's a perfect little seed spreader. We do have some nitrogen treated shavings that we get from the nearby garden supply. We'll probably put that over this seed so that the birds don't come down and eat it before it has a chance to sprout. Yeah, just keep going over this muddy area. And then once we get Eve to run the Harrow a few more times up and down this test site corridor, we'll do the same thing there. And we're going to give it abundant seed, close it off with these portable panels, and watch it grow. Now, Timothy hay is going to be different from the grass that I have growing now. Mostly I have Bermuda and fescue growing here. You want to get your scoop behind you. We're going to see how it grows, how fast it grows, how yummy it is.
Good girl, Eve.
This is our next session with Firecrest Easter Eve, getting her accustomed to this test site corridor where we're going to plant Timothy hay. We have our own organic compost spread out, at least right now, just in the middle of the corridor. We did use a small tractor to spread it. It was too wet out here. Kind of ruined some grass that we had out here, so we don't want to bring tractors out here anymore, however small they are. We want to do this with our horses, and Firecrest Easter Eve is my best farming horse, but we're giving her every chance. Look at her ears. You got it? Kyle, can you get that? Every chance to feel secure here in this corridor because it's right on the property line. Who knows what's happening over there on the neighboring property? Remember, this is an urban rural setting. Yeah, go all the way out and come back in again. We're trying to say to Eve, by getting her accustomed to this corridor, don't worry, be secure. We're not going to let anything happen to you. Unfortunately, the compost is so new and so fresh and quite deep that it's slippery. So I'm not sure that we're going to be able to pull anything right now. We know that it's going to start raining in a couple of weeks, but with sun, if it comes out, it will dry this off and we'll be better off. Otherwise, we're going to have to come out here with some nice long rakes and spread it even thinner than it is now. Because what we're trying to do this year with Eve is get her ready to pull this Harrow, actually have her pull it in a straight line down this corridor, plant the Timothy seed that we have, and see how it grows this fall and winter. And then we'll be ready, we hope, to expand our farming efforts here with Eve, and maybe with Sadie too, because we're teaching Eve and Sadie to do pairs driving. And we can do that even in our covered square pen if it starts raining. So this is, that's good. She seems like she's listening. I can see her ears are moving. Always watch body language. I don't want her to pull right now. I can see that even when she isn't pulling, she's slipping. So what I'm going to do is have my cameraman come down with me. Angela, you just stay there at the head. She seems to be secure with you. But look at her ears. She's looking over there. I don't blame her. She needs to get accustomed to being out here on this property line. And Kyle, who's my cameraman's also my helper, he's going to leave the camera on us. And we're going to do what we did in the confines of my sanded arena in the last 2 weeks. We're just going to one tiny baby step at a time teach Eve to pull this Harrow. And today all we're going to do is hook it up to the tug straps for a moment. Kyle's going to bring his down. I'm going to bring mine down, but yeah, you got to bring it a little closer, Kyle. The Harrow is kind of heavy. Not too close, but a little closer. It's all right, Evie. Good.
All right.
It's all right, Eve. We've got some chain extensions on the eye bolts that are through a very hefty single tree, because we don't like the single tree to be too close to her back hooves, especially if it's going to be bouncy. And it might be. This is not flat arena sand. Okay, so Kyle, let's do this. Not planning on moving her at all. Just seeing if we can get her to the next tiny baby step, which is you bring yours down, I'll bring mine down. These are our, right, these are our tug straps. And we have them right now through a dog collar. Is yours through a dog collar over there?
No.
Uh-oh.
Right here?
Yeah,
Yes.
Yeah, it is. Okay. When you have a heavy load, you need a straight line of draft from the collar to the load. But that would mean that this tug strap would be way down at the Eve's hooves, at her ankles. And I'm not comfortable with that yet. Because if she starts to dance around, she might step over the tug strap. So we've got it coming through a dog collar down to, let's just for a moment, if she's behaving, hook up. We are now connected. And you know what? We've got to get a couple more. There's no quick releases here. We're going to be very careful to have quick releases here in case there's trouble. This is all I wanted to do. I'm very proud of Eve. See, she's concerned. She's looking. Angela is giving her soft tones of don't worry. Let's disconnect now because we don't have those quick releases. I wouldn't even want to stay connected more than a moment.
Good girl, Eve.
We'll make sure that next time we have quick releases. And the reason that happened today is, let's come up to here, is that this is Eve's pairs harness. This harness is different from the harness that we used in the arena. This harness is just like the one we used on Sadie. They're match pair, and we're teaching her daughters Sadie and Eve to do pairs driving. We are hopefully within the next few months going to actually hook them up to our training harness pole, but right now what we've been working on is getting their pace to be similar, getting them to G and ha at the right speed so that the outside horse stays neck on neck with the inside horse, using a jockey stick and a butt rope as necessary. And we have past shows that tell you all about this. So what we're going to do is, while we're working with Eve here in this corridor, just use her pairs driving harness, and we're going to have to make sure it's properly tacked up. Can you go and tend to the camera? So that's it, just a few minutes of a second introduction to working on farming here at what we call our Timothy Hay Highview Drive West test site. That's all for today. Sonia Sokolow, the Urban Cowgirl and Farmer. Well, this is our next session with Firecrest Easter Eve. This is actually part of the farming series. Then why are we putting a saddle on her? Well, we have a McClellan saddle, a lightweight old cavalry saddle that's been recovered, and we keep it here where we do our harness work because from time to time we like to work with the horses in saddle, and especially with Eve, we want to work on her stop cue. It is more easily done in saddle because not only do you have your body weight and your legs, but then you also have the reins. We've got to get Eve to honor the cue. There you go. You see that vertical flexion. And what she's doing, what Katie is doing it with, is the double reins that we got a long, long time ago when we first started training Eve. They are a very dynamic way, without being a tie down, to encourage a horse to give us vertical flexion. And that's always been one of the hardest tasks with Firecrest Easter Eve. When she came here, she had no idea. There, you see how gently Katie is picking up on those double reins. Asking for her back, sitting on your pockets as much as you can, yeah, pumping your legs in and out. We've got all those body language cues now that we can give Eve that says, sit back on your haunches, Eve. Give us vertical flexion, and then, yes, respond to our voice command. Now, her head's up. See if you can use the double reins. There you go. Yes. Very nice. Now, Angela, who works with me, has a little bit of riding experience, and I told her that this week, before the rains start, I'll give her an opportunity to try to work with Eve here at our pasture site. Just throw that McClellan lightweight saddle on, but it has a deep seat and it has places to tie things to. I told her I'd let her learn how to work with Eve because this is repetition. Good. Nice. Now, can we get Eve to understand that when we say whoa with the harness drive lines, that we want the same response? It helps to have all these other cues right now during the training stage. And then we'll transfer the verbal cue and a little bit of the rein cue with the drive lines. Good. Let me show those double reins, how dynamic they are. I got them from Al Ragusin, R-A-G-U-S-I-N. And at that time, I don't know if it still exists, he had dancinghorseshow.com, and I ordered them from his tack shop. Dancinghorseshow.com concerns how Al was training his horses to dance, and he performed that way. Now here's what's dynamic and gentle about these double reins. They have rollers. I'm trying to show you. There's a roller right there. The reins that are attached to the double rein set go through those rollers. So if we want to lift up to ask for vertical flexion, hoe or back, it's real easy, it's real gentle. But then when we're getting the right answer, we just drop the double reins on the neck and the pressure is immediately gone. And of course, the reward is removal of pressure when the right answer is given. And those double reins connect to whatever bridle we have on. We have it on the top ring of this shank bridle. It is a snaffle in the mouth, by the way, a broken snaffle. And Eve honors it. It was the best tool we ever got years and years ago when we started training Eve. Now let's have you just move around. Try to, without falling into any gopher holes or anything, or on any mounds of dirt, see if you can just squeeze her on, but keep that flexion going. Last night on community TV, one of my old shows was rerun where I was roping with Eve, and she didn't have any stop then either, and that was years ago. She almost stopped right in my roping cow simulator, which was being pulled by an electric bike, and she was gaping, and I said back then, boy, we have to work with Eve on this because a stop is the most important cue of all. And we've worked with her a lot, but you see it crops up again now that we're doing harness work because in the last few weeks we had a few occasions where she didn't want to stop. Good, beautiful, good, good. Okay, one more time around, maybe the other direction. And you'll see then our training technique for encouraging our farming horse in harness to understand the stop cue. And of course it also becomes a stop cue for anything else we do here on this ranch, including in saddle and including cow work, because we want to stop and back up lightly. We want haunches. Good. That's it. We're showing you how we're training Firecrest Easter Eve to be a good farm horse by using a saddle, bridle, and some traditional in-saddle cues. Today it's sunny, but everything's pretty wet still. We are going to drive Eve up and back with the drive lines and Kyle at the head. We're going to watch how she walks through this compost, which seems to be a bit slippery. So it may be inadvisable from a safety standpoint to hook the Harrow up at all. If we hook it up at all, it might be just holding it up and pulling back on it so she feels the pull of the Harrow. So we're first going to show you how we decide whether or not we consider it a safe path over the compost for my farming horse Eve to travel. Let's go.
Step up.
See, it's how she's kind of in places where the compost is a bit thick.
Step up, paw.
She slips. We have turned this irrigation way down, but it has been very wet in the mornings. Here it's much too thick for this kind of activity at this time. So we're just going to line Eve up here. We're showing you how we make our decisions, how we proceed in tiny baby steps as safely as we can.
Steady. Oh!
Now we're going to try to back her up.
Back. 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 Back.
I'm going to try to help.
Back.
After a horse has done this for years, they know what their job is. Back.
Good girl. Oh!
No, she's not backing straight.
She doesn't want to be on this.
Yeah, I
She
think
doesn't want to
can't
be
back
on the
straight
compost. It's still too...
Down,
Right. All right, let's go down along the grass. We're going to bring the Harrow there.
Gee.
We know, though, that the Harrow will not be an easy pull through the
Steady.
grass
Oh.
with all its roots.
Good
So
girl.
instead, we're just going to hold the Harrow up and pull back, and that's going to be our goal for today. Can we take it over there? Can you bring the whole thing?
I can do this, I'm sure. That looks good. Not really that difficult.
Okay. We're going to hook up. It's all right.
Am I driving?
You're going to take this whole line off?
Yeah, since we're not going to be putting the Harrow in. Is that all right with you?
Yeah.
We're trying to
If she
decide
doesn't
whether
veer
to take
off.
the drive lines off or not.
If she doesn't veer off. but
Yeah.
I don't know if she will.
Well, one small step at a time. Let's hook up, pick up, see if you can drive, and lead while she's being led. We're not going to ask this Harrow's tines to go through the grass.
What are we hooking up?
Like this. A little closer on your end. See, it is catching. Can you pick it up? Try not to bounce it. There you go. Yeah, we're not quite ready to do this farming chore, and we may be too late for this season. So we're just trying to make sure we know where we need to start up after winter. There we are, we're hooked up. Everett, can you hold it up in the back with the chain?
Why?
We're not going to have her pull it. We're going to have her pull you. We need to keep the tines off the ground. The single tree can be on the ground, but the tines are going to be too hard for her.
Okay. It doesn't seem to be that hard to pull. I mean, this is a horse. And I'm
I know,
pulling it easily.
I know, but it's not a train horse, fully trained horse. We'll see, one small step at a time. Can we get Eve? Do you feel okay on the drive lines?
But I thought
Not.
she wanted to be not there because if she
Yeah.
takes
Yeah.
off,
That's the
this
thing.
thing's going to get her in the back of the leg here.
Okay, all right. Because of our inexperience and her inexperience, we're going to take the drive lines off. We know we can drive her, we just showed you. We're going to take the drive lines off. We're going to have each member of the team serve a function here to help Eve feel the weight of the Harrow. If that's all I get today, that's okay. That's progress. The Harrow is hooked to the tug straps, and it's not a direct line of draft because we're not going to pull a real heavy load today. It goes through a dog collar here on each side of the britchin to keep it away from her legs. And Katie is going to be at the at the lead line. And Kyle and Everett are gonna make sure that the Harrow is not dragging in the ground, but that Eve feels the weight. So Kyle, you and I will pick this up, and Everett, you pick that up.
But you want to be in front of this if the bus takes off. I can
Yeah.
lift the whole thing from the back chain. It's not that heavy. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what you
Okay, all right, that's good. No, if you can do that. Now, Kyle and I are going to have to release the quick releases if there's trouble.
Yeah.
We're going to see if Eve is okay on having this heavy metal single tree behind her, having the weight of the Harrow, but not the tines of the Harrow pulling in the ground, getting hung up in the ground. We're going to see if she's willing to walk forward. And I would like to have my arm extension. Does anybody see where it is? Okay, Kyle is going to get it for me in case I need a visual block to get her attention. It's just a drive whip. If we can go a few steps today, I'll have an idea what will be our next step, which may not even be this season.
Easy. Good girl.
Okay, and now let's see if we can step forward. And you give her the instructions.
Step up.
Yeah, she likes it on this hard path. Okay, whoa.
Steady. Oh.
Beautiful. She stepped back. You think she can drag it? Yeah. All right, let's wait until we get past this concrete lid. We're going to try to drag it. First, past the concrete lid. Step up.
Steady. Oh.
Oh. Now, Everett's going to let the tines in the ground ever so slightly, but hang on to the chain in case you have to pick it up. Because if she feels that pull, that sudden pull, she could start to spook.
Step up.
There you go. Now she's being a farm horse. Very nice.
Steady.
That's good. That's good. Whoa. We're not going to let go of anything, though, today.
So she was pulling all by herself.
She was pulling it all by herself. Let's release.
You want to try going back up the other way?
No. Everett asked me, do I want to try go back the other way? Now, this is my moment of resolution today. I know that we have many days of repetition yet to do. We have to prepare this compost better, let it dry a little more, but the trouble is, I think that we're out of dry days for this season, so that's okay. We'll repeat and progress next season, and in the meantime, we'll plant this. It's ready to go with Timothy hayseed and see how it grows here. See more at www.urbancowgirlchannel.com.